Good afternoon. This is the online tutorial class, and there is a discussion on the Unit 9 Personal Assessment tutorial questions. Now we look at the first questions, and that is about Mr. To, Yip, Ma. This three person are the partner of a company. Okay, they share the profit and loss in the ratio of 2 to 1 to 1. And the assessable profit for this partnership company in 2017 and 18 is 500,000, and after add back the salary of 240,000, 160,000, 200,000 being paid to Mr. To, Yip, Ma respectively. Now that's why at the beginning of this questions you are required to adjust and allocate the concerning profit or loss to each of the partners. Okay, and then about this partnership company, and among these three partners, Mr. To, Yip have elect for personal assessment for that year of assessment 2017 and 18. And the question is asking also provide through the information about Mr. To. That's why we will focus on Mr. To, the calculation of the personal assessment. Okay, in this year, up to the year end of 31 March 2018, Mr. To received the rental income from property A. And this property is bringing rent to Mr. Chiu with the following situations. The first part will be about the spread over about the premium. Okay, that's why you mentioned about the lease period is for 2 years, starting from the 1st of October 2018, 16 to 30 September 2018. And the monthly rent is 12,000, and the premium is 160,000 payable on the 1st of October 2016. But you will find that there is about the year of assessment 2017 and 18. That's why for this year it's a full year. Okay, and that's why I will expect the concerning amount of this premium to Mr. To for this year of assessment will be half of the amount. That will be 80,000. Okay, rate is being paid by the tenants. That's why this cannot be deducted. And the management fee also paid by the tenant. That won't be included in the taxable considerations. Okay, then other than that, that will be the directive fee. Okay, from a company, Hong Kong company. Okay, that's why it's based on the location of the company is being managed and controlled, and surely that should be in Hong Kong. That's why that is one of the employment income. Okay, directive fee should be taxable. And other than that, he also running a sole owned business in Hong Kong, and that will be 800,000, and that have been deduction of the approved charitable donation 50,000. Okay, then other one, that will be the share of the loss of another partnership company in Hong Kong. That will be 150,000. And to give you the other information about Mr. To, pay the following expenses. Now there is for the property A being rent now, the mortgage interest 60,000. Okay, and that should be allowed to deduct under the personal assessment. Okay, and then mortgage loan interest is related to his residential property, and that is another one that can be claim the deduction under the residential care, under the home loan interest. Okay, the concession rate deductions. And then also this is jointly owned by him and his wife. Okay, and that's why it should be shared equally. Okay, the maximum for 1 year is 100,000. That's why Mr. To can claim 50,000 only. Okay, free pay to a recognized residential care home is about his father is at the age of 70. Okay, that's why that can be deducted. Okay, but that is the actual amount. That's why that will be deduct 84,000. The maximum is 92. Okay, 92,000. Okay, cash donation to Donghua Hospital, 480,000, including the donation of the 50,000 allowance under profit tax. That's why we need to calculate the maximum, whether that is over or not. Okay, and then his wife. His wife is a housewife. That's why she doesn't work. Mr. and Mr. To have two sons, 6 and 8. And also in this year only received the dividend, Ms. To received dividend income. That should be excluded. Okay, dividend income should be excluded from any tax. Okay, and then she have a loss of being brought forward 50,000 under personal assessment in the previous year. And also you mentioned Mrs. To doesn't nominate, okay? Mr. To will claim the deduction of her home loan interest. That's why surely that Mr. To can claim half of the amount of the home loan interest deduction only. And the question asking to first part is calculate the partnership profit of To Yip Ma. And then the second part is calculate the property A, okay, the net accessible value. And finally asking to work out the personal assessment of Mr. To, personal assessment of Mr. To in this year of 2017 and 18. Okay, now we look at the answer. First part will be about the partnership allocation of the profit and loss. Now, first of all, we'll write down the table and Mr. To Yip Ma. Okay, and first of all, that is the concerning salary they are entitled, and that is the amount have been add up of their salary. Okay, just after their salary at that already. Okay, that's why that is the balance sheet figures. Then for this 100,000, okay, we need to allocate according to this ratio. Okay, then finally we have work out all of them are being allocated the profit, and there is no need to reallocate. Okay, and then we can work out the figures, and because To and Yip, okay, have 11 personal assessment, that's why that will be transferred to personal assessment. But Mr. Ma doesn't elect any. Okay, what left behind in the partnership will be these figures, and then this partnership company will be required to pay the profit tax on this amount. The other two will be transferred to the concerning partner to have their own personal assessment. Okay, now related to Mr. To. Mr. To, and then he have a property being rent now, property A. Okay, and the monthly rental income 12,000 times 12 in a year total annual. Okay, and then the premium being spread over, and that will be half of the amount, and 80,000, and 20% statutory deductions, that will be the net accessible value. Okay, then the third part about Mr. To personal assessment. Now we will combine all the income first. First one is come from the part B, the net accessible value. Second will be the net accessible income, that is the directive free. Okay, and then the third one will be from his business. The first one is related to the sole proprietorship. Okay, sole proprietorship, and that will be the amount 800,000. Okay, another one will be from part A, and this amount. Okay, and that will be 190,000. Okay, after we have add up all the income, then now we will start to deduct those expenditures or expenses. This one will be related to the rental income of the property A, and the mortgage loan interest. And according to the question, is 60,000. Okay, 60,000. Okay, then you can deduct in full because the net accessible value is that amount. Okay, and you can deduct the mortgage loan interest in full. Okay, then we will work out the approved charitable donation, whether that is over or not. Okay, and by looking at that, first of all, we will add back the donation in the profit tax, and then multiply 35%, and then we minus this $500,000 to in order to identify what will be the maximum of the charitable donation under the personal assessment. Okay, that will be 397,720. Home loan interest, half of the amount. Elderly residential care expenses. Okay, and then we can work out the amount. Okay, and then he also share the profit loss, the other partnership profit partnership loss. Okay, and that will be 150,000. Okay, item 4. And then also there is one of the other business loss being brought forward, 50,000. Then we can work out the net assessable income. Okay, that figure will be used to calculate the standard rate. Okay, then he entitled to claim the merited person allowance. Okay, because that is under personal assessment, right? Two child allowance. Okay, then that will be the reducing balance. Final net chargeable income. Okay, that will be the net chargeable income. We will using the progressive rate to calculate. Okay, then because the first layer will be 2%, and that's why that will be the amount tax payable amount 669.6. Okay, and then for this one is the standard rate amount. Surely that should be the progressive rate. Okay, and also in this year, oh, something wrong with this one. Okay, should not be this year. 17. Okay, and 18. I forgot to adjust it. Okay, then the concerning special tax waive in this year is 10 ceiling of 10,000. The maximum 75% can be waived, and finally the salary tax payable amount 167.4. Okay, that will be the calculation related to question 1. Now we look at question 2. Okay, question 2. The first part, A part, is asking you about the condition for election for personal assessment. Is that the individual must be either permanent or temporary resident of Hong Kong, and asking you to define permanent and temporary resident for the purpose of election of the personal assessment under the Inland Revenue Ordinance. Now, you should refer to the ordinance and briefly to discuss on that, because it's just worth 3 marks, right? But if the mark is more than that, then you should provide very detailed answer. Okay, for this one, permanent. Permanent means what? Means an individual who ordinarily resides in Hong Kong. Okay, that is the first part. Second part will be the temporary. Okay, temporary resident means an individual who is in Hong Kong for a period amount to more than 180 days during the year of assessment in which the election is made, or 300 days in 2 consecutive years, and one of which is the year for which an election is being made. Okay, that will be the first part, the discussion on the first part answer. Okay, then the second part will be about Mr. and Mrs. Ho, the personal assessment. But looking at this, it gives you 2 years of the information, but basically the question is asking you to work out this year of assessment, 2018 and 19, about Mr. Ho and Mrs. Ho personal assessment. Okay, for this one, and it lets you know about Mr. Ho have the rental income from property A and B, and also he running his sole proprietorship business. And Mrs. Ho also have a property rental income, property C, and also running a sole proprietorship business, but it incurred a loss in this year. But in the previous year, you have a profit, okay, which is different to Mr. Ho, okay. Okay, and then the expenditures, there will be the mortgage loan related to ABC, this three, and the amount, and then the rate being paid by them, and also the home loan interest paid by Mr. Ho, and that is their residential home, okay. The principal during, and the amount is 98,000, and the cash donation to the approved charitable donations, Mr. Ho and Mrs. Ho. Okay, and because of that, by looking at that, then you will find that Mrs. Ho doesn't have any finally it doesn't have much income, right? And surely most likely that will be Mr. Ho should be the person have net chargeable income. Okay, but no matter how, by looking at the other information, all the property are located in Hong Kong. That's why the rental income should be taxable. And the management fee of all the property are paid by the tenant. Okay, paid by the tenant. That's why that won't be included in the taxable considerations. Now, and they elect for personal assessment. They have two children, age 20, 25, full-time program in Hong Kong, full-time program in Hong Kong. That's why they can claim two-child allowance. Mr. Ho living with his grandmother, who is at the age of 88, receive allowance under the government disability allowance scheme, and that's why be careful, and you can claim one more allowance, that is a disabled dependent allowance, right? Okay, Mrs. Ho contributes 66,000 to support her parent in the last year. Her parents were at the age of 68 and living in Macau throughout the year. Now, be careful. Although this parent were at the age of 68, and also Mrs. Ho contributes 66,000 to them, but one of the requirements, these parent are not ordinary reside in Hong Kong. Okay, that's why that doesn't fulfill the requirement. Okay, that's why when you calculate, don't include this allowance. Okay, then the question is asking you to work out this year of assessment of Mr. Ho and Mrs. Ho. Now we will go to the calculations. Now remember to write down on the top Mrs. and Mrs. Ho personal assessment for the year of assessment 2018 and 19. Okay, we will construct a table with an individual column for Mr. Ho, Mrs. Ho, and then we will have the drawn total. Okay, and then the first part will be about the net accessible value. Okay, we should separate to work it out. Okay, that's why we need to have the working one, and down to here is the working one. Okay, and for Mr. Ho, he have two property, A and B. And then for the A, and that is the rental income, B rental income, then the rate, okay, and then that will be the concerning properties that can be deducted, okay, and then 20% statutory deduction, finally the net accessible value, and then you will add them up. That will be the total, 164,800. While his wife, Mrs. Ho, that is the rental income, and that will be the rate, and then 20% statutory deduction. That's why you strictly times 80%, then you will work out the net accessible value. Okay, that will be another way to do it, but preferably you will work like Mr. Ho using a table form. Okay, but that will be another one, that will be a shortcut. Okay, after we have worked out this net accessible value of the properties, then we can put them right here. Okay, then the second one will be about the employment income, accessible income, that will be related to working too. Not accessible income. That should be the profit. Okay. That will be Mr. Ho. Okay, and for this year, he have 100. That's with 1,260,000. Okay, profit from the sole proprietorship business. But you have last year, okay, the loss are being brought forward to set off 150,000. Finally, this year from the business is 1,110,000 only. Okay, that's why we'll put the current year accessible profit right here. Preferably you should write profit, don't write income, okay? Because income will be quite misleading and that will be related to employment income, okay? Should be accessible profit. Okay, then you add them up. Finally, you may minus the mortgage interest, okay? Under personal assessment, you can deduct the mortgage interest related to the property. Okay, and Mr. Ho, there are two, okay? Then the total. Mrs. Ho, the amount should be more than that. That should be the home loan interest is how much it is original. Oh, 44,000. But that is the net accessible value, right? That's why that is limited to 39,680. And because of that, there is no any. It doesn't have any accessible income for Mrs. Ho. What left behind is Mr. Ho only. Okay, then we'll calculate. Continue to calculate the concessionary deductions. Okay, Mr. Ho. Okay, and by looking at that in total, and he have donated two, including his wife. Okay, donation because his wife doesn't have any accessible income already. That's why that will be directly claimed by Mr. Ho. Okay, automatically will be transferred to Mr. Ho to claim the deductions, and also it should not be over 35%. Okay, home loan interest limit to 100,000, but the actual is just 98,000 only. Okay, that's why the actual. And you can work out the figures, and then about Mrs. Ho, and you will find that Mrs. Ho, that is the current year. She have the business loss, and because she doesn't have any other income to set it off, and that's why according under the personal assessment, that can automatically transfer to his husband to camp. Okay, that's why that will be transferred, but you cannot transfer like this, and you should add, and then that's why you add here, and then I will transfer the figure right here. Okay. Okay, then finally it doesn't have any. Okay, and then all the figure will be under Mr. Ho, and then you aggregate. Okay, aggregate, and then there will be a one column calculation. Okay, and then we'll deduct married person allowance, child allowance too, right? Two. Okay, then his grandparent, dependent grandparent allowance, additional because throughout the years he lived with his grandparent. And then disabled, okay, that's why disabled dependent allowance. Finally, that will be the figure used to calculate the progressive rate tax payable amount, and that will be 12,536. Okay, and then for the limitation, we are using this one, using the standard rate to calculate. Okay, 15%. Surely that will be more than the progressive rate. Okay, that will be the amount being responsible by Mr. Ho. Okay, and that will be 12,536. While Mrs. Ho doesn't have any, that's why we no need to apportion. Okay, if in case Mrs. Ho have any accessible income, you are required to apportion the amount to each of them. But for this case, and you will find that it doesn't have any, okay, right here, and that's why the whole amount should be responsible by Mr. Ho only. Okay, that will be the concerning calculation. Okay, that's all for this 2 till 12 question. If you have any question, you may ask me in the chat room.